What we see globally is our networks are really driven by data traffic growth. And what you see is data traffic continues actually to grow, but we also see the uncertainty in the general economy. And that leads typically our customers to be a bit more careful with investments. They can do that for a couple of quarters, but after that they're subjected to the growth in the data traffic. So yes, we said we see choppy waters ahead, and we want to be a bit careful.
Can you break that down for me geographically, how things are panning out in North America versus Europe and some spots in Asia as well?
You know, we're in a restricted period right now, so we'll release our earnings in a few days, so I can't really comment on any specifics. But what you see is front-runner markets around the world have been, you know, they have been a bit more careful towards the end of, we'll call it, you know, from the summer and onwards, while you see growth in a number of other markets. So, for example, we're building out very fast in India. Take one example.
Big drive for infrastructure investment over there. Yeah.
It is, and it's for the whole, I think, digital India and creating a digital society in India. I mean, they're on a strong path with 4G, but now they're building out 5G in an even faster pace.
Well, we talk about mobile network as a whole, but how does 5G compare to that? How is the rollout of 5G going?
5G is continuing to grow, and it's really driven by a couple of things. One is the growth in data traffic. It has to be accommodated, and as a matter of fact, 5G technology is going to be needed in order just to give a consumer a basic experience on mobile broadband. And that drives a large part of the build-out. And then over time, we're going to see completely new applications being launched on 5G when you start to use the features in 5G, call it speed, call it latency, call it network slicing, improved positioning, etc. So you can do a number of things with a 5G network you couldn't do before.
So the use case is there, in your view. What about these?
Only the basic use cases, mobile broadband is what you see today. The unique use cases where you really use the 5G capabilities, they are not there yet, but they will come.
So what about the involvement from the public sector? I thought it was really interesting that when the EU came out with their big recovery package, about 150 billion euros was earmarked for 5G. That's a huge amount. Is that significant? And how much of an impact is that going to have in your take-up of 5G technology?
It's clearly significant, but what we have also seen is it's not allocated to real investments yet. So the amount is a big headline number, but the reality is we see very little on the ground. Switzerland happened to be a bit of a different example. Here 5G is built out quite well, even in mid-band it's built out. But if you take large parts of Europe, it's really not built out in mid-band yet.
Where are the bottlenecks there? Why is that the case?
I would say it's back to our customers, call it the service providers. They are, you know, not making a high enough return on capital. And if you don't make a return on capital, you invest less. And you know, that's what we're seeing in Europe. So our customers are a bit careful at investing. I think this is driven by largely a regulatory environment where Europe has elected to lead with regulation, which I think is a dangerous path. So we need to think about how to create good investment climate for the operators to make the network investments.
So interesting you say that, because 5G has sort of emerged as a battlefront between the US and China. Are Europe falling behind in this race for 5G?
Europe is clearly falling behind. China is building out very fast. We see the US building out. We actually see a number of other countries. Australia is building out, the Middle East. India is building out very fast. They will very shortly have the best digital infrastructure outside of China. So India is really on the forefront of this build-out, driven by two of the biggest operators in the world, Bharti Airtel and Jio, and they are building out very fast. That's going to help India digitalized, and if you compare that to what happens in Europe, we are behind.
Yeah, very, very sober assessment there. What is your opinion of the Inflation Reduction Act in the US? Is that also pushing this trend that you've been talking about, and the fact that it places Europe on the back foot?
what it does is it makes investments in America more attractive. And we will see that affecting not only industries that are, call it, included in the Inflation Reduction Act, but you're also going to see it in other parts, because the US becomes a more, call it, investment-friendly continent, and that's likely to attract more investments.